What did they call Brainiac when he called into customer service?
I don't know.
Complainiac.
Complete okay.
Welcome to the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. It's Fanboys Live and the Retro Review. Thank you so much for spending your Sunday nights with us. Signature gigging. How you been? What you been doing? Has there been any comic book hunting?
No comic book hunting for me, unfortunately, but just been busy here putting things together in the office. So again, it's coming together, liking it. I'm down to one file cabinet left, and I'm completely finished.
Nice.
So the problem is I got to move. Each drawer holds roughly 500 books, so I'm looking at maybe 2,000 to 3,000 books. I got to come down. Then I got to move that crazy heavy file cabinet. So I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, that does not sound like a fun time, but imagine how great it's going to be when it's done.
It's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. Awesome. Nothing else going on?
All good on this side of the earth. The only thing I got going on is a lot of work-related stuff. So too exciting.
I went looking yesterday to try to pick up one of those blind as a bat blind bags because we're going to do something Batman themed next weekend for the show. And I thought that would be fun to open at the end.
Yeah.
Couldn't find one to save my bat.
They are sold out here too.
Yeah. Couldn't find one.
I tried. Yeah,
I tried.
Good effort. So that's pretty crazy that they sold out so fast. So those of you who don't know, there is a misprint in the blind bags.
Yes.
I put it away. I forget what it was. One of the variant covers by Juan, I forget how to pronounce his last name. On the back, instead of issue, let's say like issue 1, they spelled issue with 2 I's. So that's interesting. I mean, Who knows? Maybe it'll be recalled, or I don't know. But it's the only one variant out of the, I think, 10 possible ones you could have gotten has that misspelling.
Wow. You didn't get that one, did you?
I did. I got it. Yeah.
You did. You lucky ducky.
Did. Yeah. I got it, and I didn't know it until someone else pointed it out. Yeah.
Awesome.
I got that one. Yeah. And sure enough,
Very
I looked.
nice.
I got it.
Well, I'm still going to look, I mean, I don't know. I'll probably go somewhere on Batman Day, which is this upcoming Saturday, but I'll see if I can find one, but the odds are not looking good. We'll see next weekend if I have one to open, because if I do, that's what I'm going to do for the book show portion next weekend.
A couple of people in our community scored the gold foil chase.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good for them.
Yeah. Speaking of awesome, that's what our special guest is. We are so excited to pull him back into this show tonight. He's been a great friend, great community person, just someone. He used to do a Saturday morning show that I was just a staple on. I do miss it a lot, but I know he's had some things going on. But tonight, he's spending time with us and with you. So let's welcome J Hood Comics to the show. How are you doing, Jamie?
Hey, I'm doing all right. Thanks for having me on.
Of course. I'm so excited to have you and to get a chance to hang with you again. What's new?
It's a bunch of the same old. Just been plugging away at work, and I've come to the realization that I need to find some time to get back to my hobbies. And my only hobby is collecting comics and talking about comics. So just a little exercise to get back in the swing of things here.
Awesome. Well, we'll get you back in that swing pretty good. It's great to have you here tonight. If you're watching on the Rewind, thank you so much for stopping in for Fanboys Live in the Retro Review. And in our live chat, we'll kick it off by saying hello to White Tiger, Cool, Calm, Collected. Muabunga, Ruben. Hope that you're doing well. And then Matthew is here, Matthew Poe, and he's happy to see you as well, J Hood. So,
hi, Matthew. Yeah. He's one of our regular watchers on my channel.
Nice. Great.
Very
well,
nice.
Thanks for coming over, Matthew.
Yeah, thanks for stopping over. That's awesome. So, in a moment, we had you pick what our retro review is going to be tonight. And when we get into that time, we'll ask you the reasoning why you chose what you chose. And then we'll have to grill Signature King a little bit, too, and see if he's set for this retro review tonight as well, based on about 2 weeks ago's episode. So, but that's all to come. What's that?
Said I was struggling.
Well, I think you'll do fine tonight. So, in the meantime, though, I guess we'll kind of get kicked off with what's going on in the world of DC Comics, and I'll get us kicked off too. I think probably the biggest story that seemed to make national headlines was DC Comics canceling their just-released Red Hood comic book series. This is after the writer, Gretchen Felkner Martin, had made comments about the Charlie Kirk assassination. So DC not only canceled all future issues, they also pulled the comic book, which I believe came out this week. So those that picked it up right away when it came out had the comic book. And since then, DC immediately ordered those copies to be pulled from the shelves, and they credited the comic book stores too. So we were talking about recall comic books just a little bit ago, and there's a new one in the hands now in the form of the Red Hood series, which is now officially canceled by DC. Tony, what else do you have for comic book news?
Hey, if you guys are big fans of John Constantine, I've got good news for you. Not only is Keanu Reeves reprising his role as John Constantine in a sequel that, according to James Gunn, is absolutely still in the works, and they're actively working on it. But it sounds like you're going to get another John Constantine movie with a completely different actor. It's going to get the same. It sounds like John Constantine is going to get the same treatment as the Batman. They're going to have this side doing their own thing, and then you're going to have a John Constantine in the James Gunn verse. So two different Constantines at the same time. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I like John Constantine, but I don't think I need two of them.
Yeah, Jamie, how do you feel about that?
As someone that kind of works in licensed properties and things like that, that really surprised me, because usually these companies like to keep their IP clean and not have any like brand confusion. But stranger things have happened. We've had Jason Momoa as the key role in Aquaman, and now he's going to be Lobo, which casting there totally makes sense too. So I could see it working. It just surprises me that that James Gunn isn't setting a standard, not necessarily setting a standard, but setting a guideline for, my universe is going to be this, and we're not going to do anything else. I guess I give him credit for giving creators the leeway to do what they want, which I guess that's half the joy of what we see in comics too. You read a monthly Batman comic, and then another miniseries comes out by a new creator and artist, and you like that too, and both can coexist. So maybe there's a way.
Yeah. We'll say hello to Kenneth Bird, who stopped in. Hi, Kenneth. Hope you're doing good and been having a good weekend.
But I think the issue is with Keanu Reeves. People know him. People only see him for his movies. So if they're going to go to the Keanu Reeves Constantine, I mean, they probably don't care about the other one. You know what I mean? So unless they can find a way to fold him into the Gunverse, but I don't know if I like that either, because I love the movie, but I don't feel like it was obviously comic book accurate. It wasn't even close. But
am I remembering right that one of the when the first wave of the James Gunn DC movies is supposed to be a Swamp Thing movie? Am I remembering that right, or am I imagining things?
You are right, but I think that's one of the ones I got the chop.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's been a little restructuring. Yeah. Hello to Super Russ 9000. Russ is going to be one of our special guests next week on the show too. He's coming back, so we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, they keep teasing the new Gunverse, and speaking of the new Batman, it's possible we could be getting our first glimpse at whoever this new Batman is during the Clayface movie.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Which would make sense.
But I find that really bizarre. Like, of all the possible things they could do to introduce the Batman, they did it in a Clayface standalone movie. A character that I guarantee you not many people know about, and he just went right to the silver screen.
So you think about James Gunn's success and what's got him here, and it's been by utilizing characters that aren't the mainstream characters. And I think that's part of the reason why we might enjoy some of his work so much, is because if he picks up a character that doesn't have a whole lot of history or a whole lot of baggage in the minds of us fans, that it gives him more creative leeway to do something new and fresh and unexpected. And they put it out into the universe and everybody likes it.
Yeah, good point.
A great way to get people
kinda...
into a Clayface movie is by it to leak out that there's going to be a Batman in it.
Mm-hmm.
You're right, but I don't think James Gunn is really involved in the Clayface movie. Like, he's not directing it, is he?
No, I guess he was pitched this idea and he liked it so well he kind of found a place for it in the lineup.
Yeah, so I guess his involvement is still there, but it's it's pretty limited compared to previous projects. But I mean, you're right. Who knows? Maybe this will be crazy big and put Clayface in a new limelight. Anything's possible, but yeah, I know I'm excited to see it.
Nice. So in other news that I thought, and I'd be interested to see what Jamie has to say about this, Warner Brothers Discovery just joined this big key copyright infringement case, which is kind of new boundaries here legally. It's over using artificial intelligence to create digital replicas of well-known characters. So on Thursday, Warner Brothers joined this copyright infringement lawsuit against an AI company called Midjourney Inc. They're saying that their image generator produced very blatant ripoffs of their copyright-protected characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and Scooby-Doo. Already, Disney and Universal Pictures are part of this lawsuit, and now they join. Any thoughts on that, Jamie?
That's really interesting. As a creative, one of the things that we have to find a way to wrap our minds around is how, like, what impact AI is going to have on our creative careers, as well as like the content we consume. Because if given like full carte blanche, do whatever you want to do, which AI potentially has the ability to do, people can create whatever they want, using whatever IP they want, and claim it as theirs. I mean, theirs from the standpoint of I created a new piece of art with Batman in it or something like that. I think it's I can definitely see the IP rights holders really struggling to find a way to corral that as a concept. And it all comes down to how much regulation will be, around the use of AI to create artwork and stories and things like that. It's in my mind, the significance of AI is the biggest invention since the nuclear bomb. It's going to have that much influence on us, on our future, and. Yeah, if I had time, I could give you an outline of all the ways I think it will impact us. But as far as the IP protectors coming in and trying to get a handle on things, I understand where they're coming from, and I guess the best luck to them to find a way to make it work.
Yeah, Signature K, anything you want to add in?
No, you're right. I mean, AI it's this new frontier that we're exploring as a society, and it's everywhere. It's not just in artistic creativeness. It's in medical care. It's in our government. I work for the government, and I use AI on an absolute daily basis. And some people see that as good, some people see it as bad. So who knows? I mean, there's talks in the future of having movies completely AI. And that's wild concept. No actor, no nothing. You can just make a person, just a prompt. Boop, here's my $5 million movie made in about 2 minutes. So who knows? But I understand that these big IP holders want to protect what's theirs. But then we sort of run into a problem where it's technically in the public domain. How does that affect it? Who knows? But I am interested to see this lawsuit play out.
Oh, I know he knows what he's talking about. That's why I asked him. So, absolutely. Tony, anything else going on news-wise?
No, I see Matt was bringing up the WB Paramount merger talk. So it sounds like Paramount is going to put in a last-minute bid to purchase Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers from Discovery Media. But yeah, I don't know what that means for. Let's pretend it does happen. What does that mean for James Gunn and the DC verse? What does that mean? Is that a reboot already, or are they just par the course and just like it never happened and let it play out? I mean, who knows?
Well, that was kind of the downfall to the Snyderverse, because the big merger happened right at the time that it was launching. And let's face it, James Gunn is kind of launching right now. You know.
Yeah. Yep. And
I think that would be settled out by like however the contract's written out. If James Gunn has a 5-year contract to head DC Studios, then I think we've got him around for that long.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know if that
there's some movies that take 8 years to make. They announce them 8 years. So I mean, like 5 years. That's what, one movie,
right.
2 movies. It's really not that long.
Well, I just threw out 5 years as a guess. It could be 10.
Yeah. Who knows? It could be 10 or more. It could just be until further notice kind of thing.
I think I read an article about this today, and I think it is interesting that the Paramount went from really being in trouble to being bought out by Skydance, and now they want to buy all of Warner Brothers and HBO and like the whole thing. This would be before before Warner Brothers would split. Like they've had a discussion recently that they think they want to divide the company before a sale. They would be buying the entire thing, and just the amount of IP that would be rolled up under one company there, where everything from Star Trek to DC Comics all under one big production house would be big. They might rival Disney at that point.
Yeah.
Will a judge even allow it to happen? Are they too big to merge? That's a whole nother episode. But it happens. There's sometimes companies just get told no.
Yep.
We'll see. So before we get into a retro review, one thing that I want to ask both of our panelists here, I think what probably is going to be the best-selling comic book of the year is about to come out this week, and it's Batman Deadpool. Are either one of you planning on picking up a copy or copies? Signature King?
Yeah, I'm going to pick it up. I don't recall which copies or what covers I pre-ordered. Probably the foil, obviously, but I couldn't tell you what it looks like. It's been so long since I pre-ordered it, but it sounds like the powers that be have a plan ahead. If this does really well, they're going to do it again with somebody else. And we talked about it last week that they already have characters lined up. So I'm curious.
Yeah. Jamie, how about you? Is this something you're planning on checking out?
Yeah, oddly enough, I am a Batman guy, but I haven't been buying Batman at all recently. I decided to pick up the new series, so I've got the first issue on the hold at the comic shop for me. But I do plan on picking this one up, and I'm actually going to get probably just the A cover, and then I'm also going to get the sketch cover. And this is the first sketch cover I think I've bought since Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Oh wow!
And I don't buy sketch covers as they come out often. I'll sometimes go back and find one that I like that I didn't buy new. But yeah, this is the first time I think I pre-ordered one.
Nice. I haven't pre-ordered, but I am planning on picking some up. Hopefully I'm not going to have any issue with that. I think there's 3 different covers that Wonder Woman's featured on, and those are the 3 that I'm going to go for. The one that I liked the most was the Wonder Woman Captain America cover. So
that's a good one.
Yeah, it is a good one. And Wonder Woman Cap are going to be in a World War II setting story in their portion of the book.
Yeah, that sounds interesting too.
Yeah. So now, Signature King, how nervous are you about when you were told it's Legion of Superheroes again tonight?
This one wasn't bad because it had Legion of Superheroes in it, but it didn't have it that much. It was pretty light on Legion of Superheroes.
You can thank Jamie for that because he really suggested this issue for you. Now, you keep in mind tonight, Signature King, when I get to my review, that could have been yours. Okay?
I would have just been sick. I would have just said, I can make it.
So if you want to pull up the assist, Jamie, tell us why you picked what you picked tonight for our retro review.
Yeah, so I was telling Ryan before we started, I really had a hard time like figuring out nailing it down to 3, And I knew the first factor was going to be nostalgia. These are going to be some of my personal favorite stories. And then I kind of came up with a list of all of my nostalgic favorite stories and tried to find some connective tissue between them so that they made, at least there was some like thread that went through all of them.
Okay.
And so I originally was thinking, okay, maybe I knew there was one issue I wanted to do, and that's the one I'll be covering. So I had to find some other books that connected to that. So basically, I went with the Superman story, the one that's on the screen now, only because it had probably my earliest story that I'd ever read with Legion of Superheroes in it. So the fact that the issue I chose was a Legion of Superheroes issue on its own. The connection here is just that it's got the Legion in a story that I really loved as a kid. And then kind of the one I wanted to concentrate on, and then there was a follow-up years later that came back and picked up on the storyline of the one that I'm going to cover. And so that's why the third issue was selected to follow up.
Cool. We'll get started first. We'll real quickly say hello to John's Comics with Friends. I agree with you 100%, John.
Good to see you, John. Thanks for joining us.
Yes. And although he usually goes last, Signature King kicks us off this week with the retro review. Stranger
things have happened, but yeah. So apparently these are the last days of Superman. Keep in mind, this issue has 3 stories in it. I mean, it's all. I don't even know why they break it up into 3 parts because it's all one story. But whatever. So there's a lot of meat here, and I'm going to try to cover it all as best I can. So just bear with me. So Superman on the cover here, he's got his last will and testament, and he's dear Supergirl and friends. He's infected with Virus X, a plague from Krypton. So that's kind of the premise here, that we see his infection and how he goes to it. But I mean, look at this art. This is good art. Look at that. When I saw this, I was very confused about what's happening. Then I noticed that there was people holding him up. For some reason, like when I looked at it, I thought they were like hooks. Like someone just hooked him up to the wall and just kind of left. Yeah. But I was like, okay, they're little people. All right.
That's a stunning splash.
Yep. It is a very stunning splash. Yeah. Superman is dying. So here we go. So deep in space, there's a big capsule of some kind, and there is a green thing. Looks like they're about to collide, or maybe the gravitational pull is going to pull them together. So Clark Kent is, at some kind of press conference watching this thing, but he quickly turns into Superman and runs after it. But he notices after he's grabbing the capsule, like, dude, I feel it. Like, that's kryptonite. Like, I know that well. I don't know what to do. And he's trying to get close to this thing, but he can't because of obvious reasons. So he decides he's going to take this capsule after the astronauts got out, and he's going to smash it. But it doesn't work. It's still there. And Jimmy Olsen comes up, and he's touching it, not knowing what it is, and he's playing with it. But Superman is able to look at this thing with his super close-up vision, telescopic vision. And it says, contents of Virus X, beware. So Superman's like, dude, this is a Kryptonian virus. Like, whoops. We were just touching it. So this is a really bad idea. So Superman kind of knew he was in trouble here when the further he got away from this kryptonite thing, that he could still feel the effects of it. Like, he's in a helicopter here. He's gone. And he can still feel it. And that's not good news. So they go to the doctor, which this part I really got to chuckle at, like, an alien virus. Let's just go down to the community hospital, right? They're going to know what to do. So that's exactly what they do. They go to the hospital. The doctor's running tests on Superman, and the doctor comes up with this thing, and he says, Superman's got like 30 days to live. I don't know how he would know that, but he knows that. So he diagnosed Superman. He's terminally ill. He's infected. There's no hope. There's no cure. There's no vaccine. He's just pretty much a walking corpse. So he's trying to get out of the city. He's trying to get away from Lois and Jimmy, and he goes to the Fortress of Solitude, and he's feeling depressed about it, and he's like thinking about the people of this bottled city of Kandor and whatnot. But then he notices this statue of Supergirl, and he's thinking about Supergirl and this virus. And what's funny is nobody thought that even if he was infected by this virus, nobody thought to think like, hey, maybe he shouldn't be around everybody, this alien virus that we know nothing about. But then again, when did this come out? Like in the 60s, they didn't really care about that. Like, oh, you just rub some dirt in it, take a shot of whiskey, you'll be fine in the morning. So essentially that's what's happening here. So yeah, Superman's infected here. He's Clark Kent. I mean, he's also affected by it, obviously. And he's not showing up for work, and they can tell that something's wrong with Clark. And then Superman comes in, and he's just slow. And we see a panel here. He's kind of weak in the knees. He's just exhausted. He doesn't have the endurance or the stamina. So Superman's trying to figure out how he can figure this thing out on his own. So he's got like these, and it took me a minute to figure out what I was looking at here, but the super robots that we saw if you saw the new Superman movie, like they were robots, but here they're not. They look identical to Superman. So that was pretty cool. So Superman robots come, and they build this like containment cage for him, which I thought was pretty cool. And they built it like out of the sand that was in the ground, which is pretty awesome. Sometimes they just pay attention to science, sometimes they don't. So anyway, Superman's in this containment thing, and he's, Supergirl comes, Jimmy Olsen's there. He's telling him like, hey, this is it. Like, my goose is cooked. Say goodbye to the family. Here we go to part 2, the super comrades of all time. So Superman is, in his little containment cell. Supergirl here. This part made me laugh really cool. They didn't know what to do, so they're like, we got to talk to like all these crazy smart people. So they talk to Lori, Queen of Atlantis. Lori, Queen of Atlantis, who's like looks like this half mermaid. I gotta admit, this is the first time I've ever seen Lori of Atlantis before. I never even heard of her.
Lori Lurmis, double
is
L.
It?
Yes.
Okay.
She's LL.
Well, that's ringing a bell. Maybe I haven't just remember. But anyway, so they're checking everywhere for kind of information, and the bottled city of Kandor is kind of doing their thing. They're trying to figure out, like, we got to cure Superman. This is a Kryptonian virus. This is like kind of our deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of our thing. So Supergirl is able to get a hold of the Legion, the Legion of superheroes. And here we have our introduction to them in this story. They're getting into their, they call it here the little globe. I forget the name of it. Anyway, it's like it's a sphere.
It's a time bubble.
Time bubble. That's what it is. It's a time bubble. And they're going in there. We have Brainiac 5, who's going to stay back. We have Bouncing Boy, Saturn Girl, and Cosmic King. And Lightning Lad are all going to go save Superman. But like I said, Brainiac 5 is going to stay back. Supergirl's like, yeah, what are you going to do? And he's like, I think I can do some good here. You guys go ahead and see what you can do. We'll meet up. We'll combine forces. So that's exactly what's going on. Everyone is at Superman's little containment facility, and they're just putting the brain trust together, trying to figure this out. And as you can see, go ahead.
So the part of the mix in the story here is that Superman had like a list of things that he wanted to do, kind of to help the Earth before he passed, but wasn't able to. So all these heroes are coming together to try and accomplish these feats that he had hoped to do before he died, essentially. So everyone's set off on different missions.
Yep, everyone's zipping around. Yes, they're trying to do Superman's list. You're correct. There are also people trying to find some kind of cure. It's funny you talk about Superman doing things for the planet, and one of the panels on here is like a planet exploding. Mm-hmm. I wanted to kill the Earth. If you could just do that for me, that'd be great. but yeah, Superman is not doing well. So in this part of the story, the Supergirl of Steel unites Superman's emergency squad. I thought that was a pretty cool title. But yeah, they're gathering. I forget, what is it? Iron? I think it's iron. I already forgot. Yeah, it's iron. Okay, so they got their ingots of iron, and Triplicate Girl. That's another name that I didn't know. I guess she has the ability to be three people. I don't know. Right. Pretty cool. That's one thing about the Legion of Superheroes I like. There's just so many of them. Every time we do a story, I'm like, oh, that's a new one. Never heard of that one. But yeah, Bouncing Boys, everyone's doing their part, and they're building this gigantic pyramid. And Cosmic Boy is in space, and he's going to use his magnetic powers to, and I already forget, pull the iron into space, and it's going to, I forgot already. J-Hood, do you remember? I forget what the iron was for.
Looks like they're building some kind of belt around the Earth or something like that.
Yeah. It's compared to the rings of Saturn a lot, but I forget there was a specific purpose, but I already forgot about it. But yeah, at this point, Superman's getting out of his containment cell, but Supergirl notices that, hey, inside this time traveling bubble, there was no Brainiac 5. Have you been finding a cure? Supergirl's asking him, and that's the end of part 2. So here we are at part 3. Everyone is kind of doing, these things for Superman, and there is a theory here that since Superman's powers come from the sun, if you can kind of see what they're doing here, let me blow this up a little bit. In this one panel here, it looks like they're trying to melt the Antarctic ice, although I'm not sure as to why. But I thought that was pretty funny. Because now we kind of live in a society where that's like the one thing we don't want to do is melt the Antarctic ice. And here they are building a sun to specifically melt the ice. Lori again makes an appearance here, or I guess one of her messengers. It says, Supergirl, a message from Queen Lori. The task of Atlantis for Superman to do for Superman is too much for us, and we need help. So Supergirl, being the kind gal she is, she jumps right into it. We cut back to Superman, and he's thinking about, his time with his friends and family, and he's actually it does look like the Epcot ball. He is saying goodbye to his friends, and he makes a pit stop into Gotham. He says, hey, Batman, it's just passing through. I'm not doing so well. I'm kind of dying here, but I just wanted to say to you, Robin, it's been swell. Thanks for being a bunch of pals. And then he etches into the moon, do good. Others than every man can be a Superman. And he kind of outs himself, and he signs it Clark Kent. So
yeah, that kind of outs yourself.
Can you imagine the next panel is like, hey, Superman, here's your cure. And he's like, oh, I kind of just goofed. But anyway, yeah, Superman's getting weak. Every minute he's getting more weak. So Supergirl and the Atlanteans are fighting the giant crab thing, which was one of the tasks. Not the crab fighting part, but Atlantis is doing something for Superman, but they can't continue until the crab is out of the way. But Supergirl gets this really cool idea that she can actually go back into time. There's a really awesome thing right here. Yeah, with awesome power, the Girl of Steel hurls herself through space to break the time barrier, which I thought was pretty cool. So she finds herself in an epic odyssey through time and meets a shattering disappointment. There is no cure, no hope for Virus X. So she went back into time to Krypton and to talk with those scientists, or convene with those scientists to find a cure. But unfortunately, there is no cure. Or is there? Or is there? There might be a cure. We don't know. Jimmy Olsen plays a really interesting role here. I got to point out. So not only is he was doing some stuff for Superman as well, but if you notice that in all these panels, he never really left Jimmy Olsen has never really left Superman's side. So he's also covering it as a reporter, obviously because it's big news. But he's also being good pal to Superman, so to speak. So I just want to point that out, that that was pretty cool, that the writer of this could have had Jimmy Olsen off doing other things, but you left that Jimmy Olsen down to with Superman. And for a second there, one of the panels, I thought that they had Clark Kent's mom down there, and I was like, "Whoa, isn't that like a dead giveaway?" And then we find out that it's not necessarily a virus that is killing Superman. And you'll never guess what was killing him. It was kind of awesome. It's a tease, and it got you thinking a different direction. So as it turns out that there was a nugget. So when Superman smashed that kryptonite containment thing, when he smashed it, a nugget from it, like a shard, went and got stuck in Jimmy Olsen's camera. He never noticed it. And that's why he always felt the effects of kryptonite, because he's always with Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Olsen always had his camera. And remember, now he's got to go clean up all the mess that he made, because remember on the moon, they had to go erase the Clark Kent part of it.
Yep. Kind of
even though half the world probably already saw it, which I thought was pretty funny. But there we have it. The story of Superman getting infected but also not infected.
Yeah.
And you can learn to play the guitar for $3.
Tony, are you ready for me to blow your mind?
Yeah.
Okay. Triplicate Girl and Duo Damsel are the same person.
I don't even know who Duo Damsel is.
Well, one of her triplicates died.
Oh.
And then she became Duo Damsel. And Triplicate Girl was the first Legion member that wasn't a charter member. She was the first to join after the Legion had been established.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yes, I did look that up to see if I was correct on that. I thought so, and I looked it up, and I was correct. So let's say hi to a few people before we jump into our next review. Joel the Geek has joined us. Hope you're doing well and had a great weekend. Meow to the Jackson Roy Kirk, and I'm sure J Hood is happy to be seen. I know we're happy to have him here on the channel. So thank you guys for joining us. Signature King, if you want to go back to the cover, we can start because this is a pretty cool cover. So what do you think, Jamie?
Yeah, I think, so one of the criteria I had, and I think this can be shown or can be seen in the issue we just covered. One of my criteria as a kid to pick which comic I was going to take home with me off the rack was which books had the most colorful heroes in it, like the amount of different superheroes. So this was published back in 1978. So this was in an era before I even realized that there were names attached to the creators, that kind of thing. So I'm just going purely on, there are a bunch of heroes and there's a bunch of action.
Yep.
And I had I think at least one issue of Legion Superheroes previous to this one. So I kind of knew that Superboy was involved and they were in the future, but I didn't know every character. I didn't know all the names and all that kind of stuff. So when I picked this up, I kind of picked it up fresh. So it wasn't like my 100th issue like it would have been if I had picked up a Superman or Batman book.
Awesome. Well, take it away.
So I think the cover is awesome. It's a great depiction of what the issue holds. It's a mystery, and it's actually a really kind of a crime noir, a futuristic crime noir story. So I'm going to follow along with my original coverless issue. So this is the original one that I bought. That's how much I loved it.
It's well loved.
Yep. So just I want to point out the creator of this book, the plot and the story layouts are credited to Jim Starlin, which was very unusual for this era for Jim Starlin to be working in DC Comics. He had pretty much made his bread and butter working for the competition, doing some of their kind of more sci-fi oriented books. But here he is in DC. And I think as a young kid, one of the things that also appealed to me was the art and the fact that muscles seemed defined in a very Neil Adams kind of way. And even though, of course, like I said, I didn't know the name of the artist at the time, I think that made an impact on why I picked this issue up. But we start with Ultra Boy here, walking on through the city on his home planet. And we see some kind of seedy aliens in the background. He's walking by the Hotel Orion, and so he's kind of reminiscing about the fact that one of his past love interests is, excuse me, is this gal named Anne Ridd, which I'm sure is a play off the name. Was it Ayn? Is it Ayn Ridd? Who wrote the Loggerhead? And anyway, yeah, forget it. It was a author in the I think the 60s and 70s. But anyway, so Ayn Ridd is the name of the kind of the past love interest, and she plays the role of the femme fatale. So he's reminiscing about her. He's in town to meet up with her, knocks on her door. And we turn the page, and there she is. She's got this kind of really sci-fi inspired, green mascara that was actually reminiscent of other characters in the Marvel universe, if you know what I'm talking about. I don't want to step on anybody's toes, this being a DC show and all. But so he comes in, kind of says hi. And they're kind of talking about why she called him up, why they're here talking, and before he fully understands what they're doing, or what he's been called there to talk to her about, why she's called him. You turn the page again, and he gets blasted. So he gets taken off the map pretty early, and we get this interaction with this hooded character. Talking to his old flame here, and before you know it, she gets zapped as well and taken out. So Ultra Boy wakes up. He's kind of groggy. There we go.
Sorry.
He's kind of groggy. He's waking up kind of out in the nether regions of the planet, in a speeder or some kind of spaceship, and realizes that his flight ring is gone, his Legion flight ring. So if you don't know the Legion of Superheroes, all the members, even the ones that can fly, get Legion flight rings as kind of their identifier as a Legionnaire. And we turn the page to find that the Legion has been called out to hunt him down, and he's still not understanding what's going on. He's pretty much out of it and hasn't caught on to what's going on. But I think Wildfire is the guy with the blank faceplate. He's the leader of the Legion at this time, and he's there. Let's do a page turn here. See, he's there questioning what happened to your flight ring, that kind of thing. Why were we called out to bring you in? And so he gets told they're on Rimbor's fourth moon. So planet Rimbor is where Ultra Boy is from, and that's the planet we were on previously. And this gray-haired dude we get introduced here in the middle is one of the Legion's kind of one of their kind of teachers, I guess. They're their senior advisors. They went through a few of these types of guys along the way. But he was actually called back to duty to help bring Ultra Boy in. But they're telling him things like, look at this middle panel at the bottom. A beam just like your flash vision generates, the most incriminating of all, your flight ring was found on the corpse. So he's being blamed for the murder of his love interest. And they ask him to explain himself, and we do the page turn here. And he can't explain because he's totally in the dark about what's going on. So he gets the cuff slapped on him. His current love interest there is Phantom Girl, the gal in the white there, and they're one of the tight couples within the Legion. And she knows that he's not a criminal. She knows him well enough to know that he wouldn't commit a crime like this. So he's getting aggravated, and as he says there at the bottom of the page, someone has a nasty frame in mind, and there's only one way out. Stand back, Tinya. And we get Ultra Boy fighting his way through the Legion, trying to escape them. And these action-packed fight scenes I'm sure are one of the things that really drew me to this issue, because I think they're outstanding. So he gets zapped by Starboy, who has this kind of, his power is strange in that it's kind of gravity oriented. So if we have a page turn here, so he's made Ultra Boy so heavy that he's being like sucked into the ground. But Ultra Boy finds a rock and is a clutch third baseman there, and gets rid of Starboy. So Mon-El and Superboy take off after him, and so let's recap the abilities of Ultra Boy before we go ahead. Ultra Boy's ability are pretty much all of the same power set as both Mon-El and Superboy. Maybe not to the extent power wise, but the thing is he can only use one of the powers one at a time. So if he's flying without a flight ring, his current power is flight. So
that's cool.
Let's do a page turn here. So he's figured out that the only way he's going to be able to outmaneuver these guys is to literally outmaneuver them, because he couldn't take them on. He couldn't fight them one-on-one if he's just flying. So he finds a way to get their paths twisted, and they just run into each other. So he's continuing to find his way through, manages to get on one of the main starships of the Legion. That's that kind of the yellow kind of USS Enterprise inspired design spaceship there.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it.
Yeah. And he takes off. Let's have a page turn. There we go. So the Legion's there, rubbing their noggins. There's a mixed bag here of people that think he really did it. Others think that they can't believe that he'd do such a thing. I think Timberwolf, we have him here in the middle. He was one of my favorite kind of character designs. So he's thinking that some of the tricks that Ultra Boy pulled on him, Timberwolf had taught him during their self-defense training and things like that. But through the whole thing, I think only Phantom Girl is the only one that really thinks that he wouldn't have done this. So Ultra Boy thinks, well, I've got the Star Cruiser, but I'm going to throw him off my path by destroying it, which I don't totally get the logic of. But he goes back to Rimbor, the planet where the crime happened. Since he's from Rimbor, he's got a few kind of safe houses and things stashed here and there. So he finds this outfit. It's actually an Undertaker's garb to kind of disguise himself, and he goes looking for clues. So he's walking through the city, trying to think through what could have happened, what clues could he find, what's he missing, and goes back to I believe this is her apartment, and he goes and just kind of chills out, tries to reset his thoughts. And if we have a page turn here, Chameleon Boy, another Legionnaire, already happens to be there in the form of a couch. So very odd kind of camouflage there, but interesting choice there, Chameleon Boy. So Chameleon Boy isn't convinced that Ultra Boy would be capable of this kind of thing, but he's like, it could have happened. I'm not certain it's happened. So he's going to try and think things through with Ultra Boy to see if they can get to the bottom of this. He mentions he's the head of the espionage squad. So that's how he was smart enough to know where Ultra Boy might have ended up. That's why he's here. So we have a page turn there. So they have a little chit chat about, what's been going on, just walking through the whole sequence of events. Just reading some of the dialogue here to see if it gives us a good synopsis of the story. Yeah, looks like they're just kind of chatting things through here. Let's have a page turn. So I give Jim Starlin credit for making a talking head scene look interesting, at least for a couple pages.
Yeah.
I like what he's doing with even the shadowing in some of these panels, which at the time in DC, I don't think would have been very common. So they continue to talk through it. Chameleon Boy's going to give him the benefit of the doubt to basically give him a few-minute head start before calling in the rest of the Legion to kind of follow up on things. So here we are back at Legion headquarters. They're still kind of gathering their thoughts, putting together a strategy. Superboy's pushing back against Marla, who's the white-headed guy's name. So Superboy's basically, the Legion's always struggled with, okay, we're a bunch of teenagers and we should be able to get out to do our superhero thing, but there's always adults keeping the teenagers down. Like that's always a staple of the stories here. So that's the role that Marla's playing. So Superboy is wanting to go out and act on their own, and Marla's trying to give them, basically presenting the adult-like headache, if you would. Have a page turn. So Wildfire's there. Again, he's the leader at the time. They're trying to figure out how they're going to hunt him down because Dawnstar is still out of commission and she's their kind of scout. So they think they're going to kind of spread out and see what they can do to kind of figure out where Ultra Boy has landed. So we get another really interesting rendered face with the Chameleon Boy down there. I think that's really cool. This is the way it's been rendered. So Chameleon Boy is still trying to figure out. He's kind of playing the Batman role here. He's really the detective. Turn the page. So again, just another excellently drawn page of a character like just thinking through the story, just trying to figure out what's going on, who could have done this, who could have framed their teammate, and at this point he's starting to think that maybe Brainiac, for whatever reason, is the culprit. That would be Brainiac 5, the member of the Legion. So here we're back at Legion headquarters. Even the Legionnaires are doing a little bit in fighting to figure out what their strategy should be. So they decide they're going to use Mon-El's and Superboy's vision powers to try and find Ultra Boy on Rimbor. They think, well, Ultra Boy knows that they'll be looking for him this way, so he's probably hiding under some lead somewhere on the planet. And they decide, okay, well, we'll look for the areas of lead, and let's assume that's where it could be found. So at some point, they think they've got him spotted.
It's actually not a bad idea.
Yep. So for whatever reason, Ultra Boy uses his flash, or his penetravision beam. That's what they call his power. And he can see that Superboy and Mon-El have spotted him from where he's at. So he makes his escape by going through the floor of the building that he's in until he hits the sewer underground, and makes his way out through the sewer system. But the Legion have outsmarted him because they knew that's exactly where he would be. And so we have this, again, another great fight scene with Timberwolf and Ultra Boy here. And then Ultra Boy thinks he's getting away, and he gets a big comeuppance from Colossal Boy.
Jeez.
So Ultra Boy rips off a piece of building and takes a crack at Colossal Boy, toppling him. Then Ultra Boy ultimately takes out Sun Boy and steals his Legion flight ring, so he now has the ability to fly and use another of his bonus powers.
Smart.
But here comes Superboy and Mon-El. Again, since Ultra Boy is kind of limited with only flight +1 power, he's going to be using his a mixture of strength and invulnerability, but he has to kind of turn his powers on and off pretty quickly. They never explain how that goes, but you can imagine. But we've got another great fight scene here, and it continues on the next page. So Ultra Boy and Superboy ultimately give him a knockout punch there on the final panel. So they bring him back to Legion headquarters. They've got this crazy looking set of restraints on him. And Phantom Girl's still there, the only one speaking up in his defense. Marlo's ready to send him to the courts, but we get someone off panel yelling, "No!" And this is where we get Chameleon Boy coming in to make his case that it definitely was one of us, but it definitely wasn't Ultra Boy, and he suspects that it's Wildfire. So Wildfire opens up both his cannons on his teammates to try and evade them. Another great fight sequence ensues with Superboy ultimately using his super heat vision to melt the circuits in Wildfire's suit. We get a page turn here, and it ultimately just reduces him to so much ash and molten parts. So one of the things about Wildfire is like he was once a human, but has turned into an energy being, and his suit is the only thing that kind of keeps his body in place. So now they're going to have to find a way to find the Wildfire's ethereal body and get that recaptured. Again, more just great renderings here on the characters. Ultra Boy's ultimately, very thankful that he's got at least a couple team members that will help him out. But there's no, since Wildfire's gone and Chameleon Boy thinks he's got the evidence he needs, but they have to figure out how to track down Wildfire to really make the charges stick. Do one more page turn. So we've got a little smoochy scene going on with Ultra Boy and Phantom Girl, and then we find a hooded culprit that is ultimately the guy that was holding the gun in the death of Ayn Rid. And so we're left with the mystery of who this character was, and we'll have to come back for the next issue or many issues later to figure out who the man under the mask is.
Right. That was good. I really enjoyed the art in that.
Yeah, I think it's a case of great art, some nice action. For being a DC comic in the 1970s, was a little bit more adult oriented or more mature. Having reread it, I really see the film noir kind of influence on it.
Yeah. So we'll fast forward about three years in publishing time to the issue that I'm going to review to wrap us up. And it's issue 273 from 1981. First of all, you got this Rich Buckler cover. And Rich Buckler never gets the credit the man deserves.
Right.
This guy could sell a comic book by drawing a cover. I mean, I see that in the stands. I'm like, yeah, I'm not passing that up. That's a great cover. And Joel says almost as good as the movie Clue. So here's where we're going to go, and you'll see that it will kind of tie back in to what Jamie was talking about in his story. On the first page, I'm not going to spend much time on the first page except to say one thing that's completely off topic. That is my favorite Saturn girl costume, that pink bikini. So we hadn't seen it until now, but when I think Saturn girl, that's the costume I think.
Mm-hmm.
So we are at the United Earth Council headquarters, where the speaker is the newly elected president of Earth, who's saying, Legionnaires, you must disband by your bylaws. And they think that she is bonkers. Next page. Wildfire is saying, what do you mean? Whose side are you on? And they're like, Wildfire has a point, you know. First the former president embezzled money from our benefactor, and then he wouldn't assist with our plans to rebuild the Legion. Now you say we have to break up. What is going on with you politicians? And the thing is, Colossal Boy's saying, and he's thinking to himself, that's my mother up there that's saying this. What has come over her since she won the Earth election? And his mother, the president, is saying, hey, I didn't write your bylaws, you did. And the United Earth Council accepted them when they issued you a charter, and it clearly says that no Legionnaire may kill, yet that Legionnaire did kill and remains unpunished, and it's Brainiac 5. So on the next page, they say, let me elaborate. It's Ann Ridd that he killed, and then we do a little bit of recap here on the story that Jamie just shared with us too, how it looked like it was Ultra Boy, because it was Ultra Boy's ring that was found in the hotel room on his home planet right before she was killed. And they say, but come to find out, it really was Brainiac 5 who was deemed insane at the time, but you have since been cured of your insanity, but your guilt remains. On the next page, Wildfire says, what kind of kangaroo court is this? Brainy's never been proven guilty at a trial. And he said, that's the point precisely. His legal guilt has not been established, but the evidence is clear. And Brainiac 5 says, what's the use, Wildfire? She's right. And he starts to walk off, As long as my innocence is in question, I can't remain a member of the Legion. Therefore, for all of your sakes, I must leave. Farewell, my good and loyal friends. And the Legion are standing there stunned. Boy, does this stink. And Chameleon Boy thinks, indeed. So what happens now is they decide we need to talk this over. Most of the members are heading back to their headquarters. But there's a few of them that are still standing around, including Chameleon Boy, who suggests that we devote ourselves to capturing the true murderer of Ann Ridd. And Ultra Boy's kind of insulted because he feels like he's being targeted again, like it really was him. And they say, come along. But as they get ready to leave to do their own exploration, here we have Timberwolf who's saying, I can't come along. He's talking to Lightning Lass, and she says, are you having the headaches again? And he says, yes. So this looks like a future story arc that's going to get set up. But for now, that's all that we're dealing with in this issue. On the next page, Colossal Boy's walking around in the streets. Some of the folks are a little bit surprised to see him. He sees his mother coming out, leaving, and he hasn't talked to her in weeks. She's always been too busy. So he tells her to wait up. And she's happy to see him until he starts bringing up what happened in this council meeting. And she turns on him. And she's like, I'm disappointed in you. I can't discuss council business with you, least of all when it concerns the Legion. And he says very dramatically, maybe you're not the only one who's disappointed, Mom. Forget I asked. In fact, forget I'm even alive. Wow. So now we move on. Our Legion members that are going to do their own investigation into Ann Ridd's murder. they have taken a ship back to Alter Boy's home planet, Rimbor, and they get there and they decide maybe we should split into two groups. And our first group takes off, the first group that we follow is headed for the Orion Hotel where Anne Ridd was murdered at, last seen at. And they want to see her room, and the guy, the alienish creature, is like, enough trouble from police, I just want you guys to go away. And Chameleon Boy essentially takes the key and says, hey, we'll compensate you for your trouble. So Chameleon Boy heads off to Anne Ridd's room. He is with, what is his name? Starboy, thank you. Starboy. And they get into the room. Chameleon Boy instantly changes into a wolf, and he's like, the scent will still be here, you know? And they say, well, here's the blaster marks from the weapon that killed Anne Ridd. And as they start looking at the blaster marks closer on the next page, they say, at first we thought these were marks from Alter Boy's flash vision. But once we knew it wasn't Alter Boy who killed her, we assumed those marks had been caused by a Legion blaster. And they're like, no Legion blaster ever left those marks. And Chameleon Boy says, there's more telling than that, Starboy. I sniffed this entire room for Brainiac 5 cents, and even after all these months, the scent would remain for a Seeker Hound, and I found nothing. And he says, Starboy, Brainiac 5 was never even in this room. And just at the moment that they say that, a big shot comes blasting in from outside through the window. And as they're repelling the shot, it's a solar blast, and since Starboy he draws his gravity powers from the stars, he absorbs some of its energy and fires it back, but it's a little bit too much and it overloads him and burns him out. So Chameleon Boy is down for the count. He shapeshifts, and this amphibian type creature couldn't even take the blast, and he's like, I've been hit by this blast before, but I can't remember when. I don't think I could stand another, like the last of, and then he looks up and he goes, oh. And he's like, so it's you. We thought you were dead, but that was a fraud, wasn't it? A fraud from a fraud. And then his eyes are zapped, and he starts screaming about the pain that's in his eyes. And then we cut away for just a moment, where we check out the other Legionnaires who are on Alter Boy's home planet. And this time, they're going to the space control. And they want to see all of the records from the travel at that time, who was coming and going that day. And they start pleading their case, and this guy's like, you have no credentials, I can't be bothered to check. And they give him a little bit of financial incentive to let him do that. And he is more than happy, as you'll see on the next page, to help them out. So they give him access so they can start looking at all of the ships that came and went around that time. And Phantom Girl says, you know, this computer has records of every space-going craft that entered or left the planet during the days around Anne Ridd's death. And every one of those crafts are accounted for. There isn't a ringer in the lot. And not one of them carried Brainiac 5 or anyone even resembling his description. So they're saying, how could Brainy get here if he didn't come on one of these ships? On the next page, they say, Alter Boy says it's simple. It's not Brainy. It never was. It's someone that made a plot to make it look like it's Brainy, and to make him appear to be a murderer or insane, and they were able to make us believe it. And they're like, it had to be someone who flew here, you know, on their own behalf that could get on and off of the planet. So that's some clues that we know from this. And we have our guy that was just bribed that's pretty happy there with his little financial incentive. He wants to light a cigarette. He doesn't have a light. And all of a sudden on the last panel there, he gets a light. But when he turns around, he's like, he doesn't recognize the person that's handing it to him. And he's like, oh, I have seen you here before. Then all of a sudden there's a scream that Alter Boy and Phantom Girl hear. And they start to take off. Phantom Girl's essentially phasing through the floor. Alter Boy's getting down. Phantom Girl arrives first. And she's like, he's still breathing, but he's really injured. And then she turns around and she yells, you. And it's this man that declares himself to be Pulsar Stargrave. And he says, that old fool dared assist an enemy of mine, so he must be punished. And she's like, it's madness. We saw you die. And he starts firing on her. And she says, Wildfire and Superboy sent you flying into the Earth's sun. Not even an advanced 12th level computer android like you could have survived that inferno. But why are you calling yourself Stargrave? We both know your real name is Brainiac. Dun, dun, dun. So Ultra Boy arrives, and he realizes what he's dealing with, but Brainiac is giving it back to him twofold. And they're kind of at a stalemate right there. And Brainiac's like, you don't recognize the power of Pulsar Stargrave. And he's like, what type of name is that? Isn't Brainiac good enough for you? I thought this masquerade was over a long time ago. And he says no. And on the next page, Phantom Girl's back there. And he's talking about how he was upset that Brainiac 5 soiled the name of Brainiac when he rejected his offer of partnership by aiding to destroy him. And he says, now that just proves that he's one of my immortal enemies. And all I've done since then has been towards one end, the destruction of Brainiac 5. Phantom Girl goes to attack. It doesn't go well. And his body generates a high-energy force field. And the effect of attacking that can be agonizing. So Ultra Boy goes to comfort her. And he's like, you should have stayed to Phantom. What chance did you think of having? And while he's distracted, Ultra Boy gets zapped by Brainiac. And it appears like he just kind of disappears, that Ultra Boy is gone. And Brainiac declares, so must for all perish who oppose me. You know, I was created by machines to be a spy among men, but I became more, far more. As Brainiac in Superman's day, I was the deadliest android of all time. But I became bored with his life in the 20th century, so I journeyed to this era, and here I shall achieve my destiny. So he takes off instantly. He's not a man, he's a computer, they remind us, because a man would probably cackle in mad cackle of delight. But we have the real Brainiac 5, you know, who kind of stormed out of that meeting saying he's not a Legionnaire anymore. And he's in his ship, and he's thinking about, you know, that he's been suckered. When someone loses confidence in one's sanity, it's easy to believe oneself capable of anything. But he's like, I know me. He's like, even with stress, disappointment, and a long sense of alienation, that's all logical and irrefutable, but I just can't believe I'm a murderer. Even though they told me I was, but that conclusion, that just isn't me. So on the next page, it goes on to say, I want to present these conclusions to my fellow Legionnaires, only to find out that some of them had reached similar conclusions from an emotional viewpoint. So he's going to look for them on Rimbor, and using a signaling device, he ends up finding them. And when they come to, most of them are in a sick bay back on the headquarters, and they're pretty messed up. And, you know, they're just coming to, they're taking sense of what exactly happened to them, how Brainiac captured them, and essentially was able to save their life if it wasn't for them. And then they reach over and they realize there's one person that's kind of missing. And on the next page, they realize it's Ultra Boy. Well, where is Ultra Boy? The other bed's empty. Where is he? But I'm sorry, good woman, I regret to inform you. As best we can tell, your friend is dead. And she is absolutely heartbroken and shocked. So Brainiac 5 is taking off right now. He knows who's the one who tried to frame him. He knows that it's the real Brainiac and why he's doing it. And he feels this is something that he must do alone. So he flies off, and he figures that this might be where Stargrave, Sentient of an Ego, might take him to, which was their final confirmation. And he's like, the sensors kind of indicate a concentration of energy below his feet. Excuse me 1 second while I give a big cough. Commercial break over. And Brainiac has shown his face now, you know, under his new pseudonym. And those two begin to battle. And he's like, your death can be swift or agonizingly extended. You recall I offered to share a universe with you. And he's like, yes, and I rejected you when I learned that you lied. And he's like, of course I lied. It was expedient. And he says, this is on the next page. When we first met months ago, I told you your father, longtime presumed dead, that I was him, but that was a lie, I admit. But there kind of was truth to it, because your ancestor Brainiac 2 was my adopted son, given to my care and made me appear more humanoid. In a way, I'm your father. But did this matter to you? No, you betrayed me to your colleagues, and they tried to destroy me, and they failed. So he starts to attack, and Brainiac 5's got a little plan in motion already, and hitting the button on his belt, He says, you can't destroy me so long as my force field is in effect, and not even your solar power is strong enough to pierce it. I've expanded it to include you. And Brainiac is shocked by this. So the two of them are trapped, as you'll see on the next page, in a bubble together that Brainiac has issued. He says, well, I'm not going to die in something like this. This, and Brainiac 5 says, hey, this is going to hold a long time. Years, decades, maybe even centuries. As a computer, yes, you won't die, but you'll certainly go mad from boredom. And he's like, you underestimate me, you pathetic creature. What care have I for a few idle centuries? You can't deny me the pleasure of your destruction. Watch as I increase my energy and I radiate more and more power enough to destroy both you and your force field. The power of Pulsar Stargrave. And there's this huge explosion. And when the dust settles, we only see one figure inside the bubble. And we have to turn the page to find out that it's Brainiac 5. It's revealed that two can lie as well, Pulsar Stargrave. I told you I'd expanded my personal force field, but the truth was I established two force fields, one around just himself and one around the two of them. So Brainiac didn't know the other one was around him only, so when he expanded all of that energy, it ended up just destroying him, and he was still protected by the inner force field that he had around himself. He says, you lost your finely tuned sense of logic and replaced rational thought with emotion. You were ruled by hatred. And in the end, hatred always proves to be a greedy tyrant. It always demands the ultimate tribute from its subjects, life itself. And that's how the issue comes to a close. That was a fun read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thoughts about the three stories that we read together. Jamie, we can start with you.
So it's strange how, as collecting as a kid, I probably picked up maybe one or two other Legion of Superheroes between these two issues we covered. And the fact that years later, I mean, the logos on the title had changed. Like the Brainiac issue has a different Legion of Superheroes logo than the Superboy and Legion of Superheroes had. So that tells you like how much time's elapsed between the two, and they come back and tie back to each other story wise.
Mm-hmm.
The original, the Jim Starlin issue, was actually one of several issues that Jim Starlin laid out and plotted. He had some disagreement with the editors at the time and wouldn't take credit on the other issues he did, so those were done under a pseudonym. And
interesting.
So the issue I read or I covered was issue 239. They came back in issue 250 with the follow-up from Jim Starlin that continued some of the plot points that he'd started. And then they went through and introduced Pulsar Stargrave as part of that storyline, I believe. And then so he comes back here, 30-odd issues later. And then following up from this issue, directly after this one, there's a whole storyline of, okay, Ultra Boy is gone, so Phantom Girl is mourning his loss with the rest of the Legion, and then eventually a new superhero comes on the stage, and his name's Reflecto, and could he actually be Ultra Boy coming back in a different form of some kind? And then there's this other storyline going on at the same time that is, I don't want to give it away. If people like what they've seen in this, hunt the subsequent issues down after 273. It's like, I don't know, 6 issues, something like that, maybe 10 at most. Mm-hmm. That kind of follow up that continue the storyline of what happened after these issues.
Okay, so, cool. So one thing to kind of put stuff in perspective. After these events happened, I think Legion, please correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jamie, but wasn't Legion like after Teen Titans DC's second best book, and that's why they did a Baxter series on it?
That very well could be the could be true, and it could be this kind of storyline that I'm talking about that drove those kinds of sales.
Yeah,
because it was very unlike DC to have on long extended storylines. I mean, they would do it occasionally, or have maybe 2 or 3 issues connected at most sometimes. But for them to do like an ongoing saga like this within a monthly was a bit unusual for them at the time.
Yeah, it was good stuff there for sure. Tony, anything that you want to add in?
No, this is a good group of stories here. So again, I learned something new about Legion of Superheroes and learned some new names. So it's
That's right.
always a pleasure to learn something new.
Yeah, cool. I liked it. I thought the art in every story was good. I really like the action, Jamie, in the issue that you reviewed. I actually have a number 250 in my collection, so that since you just kind of referenced that too, that's good to know. That cover I didn't pull it from my bookshelf, but man, that would be a nice poster in itself.
Yeah, that's a good cover.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, very cool. Thank you for picking that out tonight. I think that we had some good stuff to read. I like how everything kind of flowed and tied in together.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I think Tony was happy that he got the issue that he got to review. So
yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. We're going to do our book show portion and talk about what's going on in our channels. Jamie, are you ready to start out?
Sure can.
Okay.
So I've been kind of just flipping through. So this is like the original copy that I bought off the newsstand back in the day of that one. And I flashed this one earlier of the coverless copy of 239. I did rebuy it. It's not in mint condition, but a very nice copy, and had both Joe Rubinstein and Jim Starlin sign that over the ages. I did go back and buy a copy of Superman 156. So this is relatively recent. I actually used this on a Comigories episode too, in one of the episodes I was on. But my original exposure to that issue was actually back in this.
Oh wow, a big treasury.
Yeah, the Best of DC, which was probably circa 1980-ish, something like that. But in this, you get the Neil Adams Night of the Reaper Batman story. You get the issue we just read of Superman. We get an issue from, I don't know if it was from Ghosts or something like that, or House of Secrets maybe. Nice Jim Aparo art. We get a cool Flash story. Alex Toth, like biblical, like the Ten Commandments kind of thing here. A Joe Kubert story, and then finishing off with the Last Days of Superman story we covered tonight. Nice. And this holds a real fond place in my heart. I actually didn't own this as a kid. The kid next door did. So we read his copy, and then I bought this one probably within the last 10 years or so.
Nice.
So I've got one other thing to show, since I know you guys are both into autographs, and since this is a DC oriented show, I wanted to pull out my best DC autographs. So I've got these two volumes. The hardcover version of the greatest Batman stories ever told.
Oh wow!
And the greatest Joker stories ever told. So it had the cover artist sign on both. So Kyle Baker on this one, and Dave Dorman on this one. And then I started. This would have been 1990-ish, 91. I would have started collecting these autographs. So what's the publishing date on this? Let me see if I can figure it out real quick. Okay, it was originally published in 1988.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, quite the collection.
Look at that. Oh, and Dick Giordano, who I loved. And I mean, I see Shelley Moldoff and oh my gosh.
Carmine Infantino.
Yeah.
Joe Giella.
Walt Simonson.
Jerry Robinson.
Len Wein.
Julius Schwartz down there at the bottom.
Yeah.
Dick Sprang.
Oh, wow. What do you think of that, Tony?
That is a piece of history. A lot of those people are no longer with us, so
right.
That book's only going to go up in terms of a historical value. Every time someone parts this earth, it just goes up and up and up. Gail Kane, look at that.
Gail Kane. Wow.
Let's see if I can find one more. is the only panel in the book, but Bernie writes in.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I have children, and then I have these books.
I'm in the same boat. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Anything going on your channel that you want to mention, or?
We don't do our show regularly anymore, but when we're like kind of on a quarterly schedule, and we're due to have one again pretty soon. I'm working on finishing up a major collecting goal, and I'm hoping to have achieved that goal by the next time we do a stream. So it could be in the next couple of weeks. Be a Saturday morning. We've been starting around 11 o'clock in the morning. So if not this week, probably next week. If I can land one more book.
Okay. I look forward to finding out. And Tony, did you notice too? I'm going to put J Hood big again for a second. Did you notice he did all DC for our background?
I did. I noticed.
Yeah. Which do you want Signature King off of the wall? I already have my eye on one.
Other than all of them?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I don't even know.
I'm going to tell you which one I'm eyeing. Wait, now I saw something else. I'm going to stick with, I almost changed my mind to the Joker playing card one. I almost changed my mind to that. But I'm going to stick with my original because it is a book that I actually am after. It's the Doom Patrol book.
Okay, solid pick.
Because that's the one where the Doom Patrol die.
That's the probably the latest pickup on that wall. And
I love that.
I've been hunting that book since I was a kid.
It's a hard book to find, I think.
Yeah, and I finally found it in the wild it was in really nice condition at an amazing price.
Wow, congratulations.
Yep.
Very nice. Sometime we're going to have to do that in the retro review.
I also had to pull a T-shirt out of the archive.
Oh, look at that!
So I had to pull this out of my archive drawer.
I love that.
It's not in regular circulation anymore, but I keep it for special occasions like this.
I saw Shazam on there, Tony.
I saw him, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Wow. Thank you. You went all out for us tonight. And I'm just going to say real quickly, too, since we're showing T-shirts, it's pretty faded, the face that you see on my shirt. But Polly Holiday!
Yep. Kiss my grits.
Yep. Of course, she passed away this week, so...
Yep.
Okay, Signature King, your channel, your book show, your turn.
Coming up on the channel, just a lot of shorts. Like I said, I'm almost done with the room, so I'm going to start cooking together a new room tour. So very excited for that. I did some cool stuff this weekend to the desk, as you can kind of see behind me. It's no longer just plain. I don't want to ruin it all, but I'm getting pretty good at these sticky wallpapers to just lay across things. So
nice.
Yeah, I decided to go for the desk instead of the wall, but hey, it works. So stay tuned for that. In terms of a book show, I am going to show the cool, because we were talking about it earlier, the Blind as a Bat variant.
Oh, yeah.
So as you can see, this is the Julian Totino variant.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the one that is misspelled on the back. You can see right there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Issue.
Yeah, issue.
Yeah, issue number 1. So misspelled. Is this going to pay off my mortgage? Probably not.
It's still cool to have.
But it's still cool to have. And I wasn't chasing it. I just happened to pick it up, and there it was. And I honestly, I had already bagged and boarded the book and put it away. And then someone in our community shouted it out. So I was like, well, now I got to go back and look. And sure enough, I only have one. Some people have multiple copies, but I only got the one.
Nice. Very nice. That's cool. I'm going to do anything else that you want to share, Tony?
I'm good.
Okay. I'm going to do my book show portion, but I will tell you that if you would like to and participate at home and do a book show, you can do that as well. Just share anything that you want, maybe Legion of Superheroes oriented or DC Comics oriented. Share a cover or anything else with us on Instagram. Use the hashtag Fanboys Live in the Retro Review so we can see your post, your at-home post. So I picked out 2 things tonight to do for a book show. I'll talk about my channel first. Currently on the channel is my back issue of the week short, and that was on Star Trek because Star Trek Day was this past Monday. And then I did a Comic Book Editions 254 video that had some Legion of Superheroes in it. I am collecting Adventure Comics by DC and Amazing Adventure Comics by Marvel. So I showed books from both series in my latest video.
Cool.
And so that's what's currently on there. Look for a back issue of the week YouTube short dropping tomorrow morning that will be Batman focused, with Batman Day coming up this upcoming Saturday. And then Wednesday night, John's Comics with Friends and I will be live on my channel. We switch off each month for our JLA versus Avengers show. And it's going to be this Wednesday, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern. And it's issue 17 of Justice League of America from the Silver Age, issue 17 from the Silver Age of Avengers. And then we talk about both stories and with your help, try to figure out who are the better issue 17. So that's what's coming up here on my channel. As for a book show, I always start out with this. I only have a little bit of room in something that's fireproof, that can hold some comic books. And this is something that is in that fireproof. I pulled it out there because I love this so much. This was drawn by our special guest, J Hood Creative. He AOK'd this to me about 4 years ago. And I mean, I remember, like, after I filmed the unboxing video, I just set the book up against a wall for like 4 or 5 days and just stared at it every time that I looked. It's still one of my favorite pieces that I have, and I feel so fortunate to have this, and I look for any reason to get this out and share. I mean, one thing too, I'll go a little bit closer, but you look at like the shadowing on the stars on the shorts. I mean, it's just so, you just knocked it out of the ballpark. Do you have any specific memories of working on this? Like, even looking at this, are you like, do you remember where you started at? Like, oh, I did the face first, or?
Yeah, I do remember distinctly drawing that one. And probably the challenge I was having, and this is what I learned in my daily work, where I become like an instant or a temporary, what do I call it? Not a specialist, but someone that knows, knows a lot about any certain thing, a professional. What's that?
Expert?
An expert.
Okay.
Become a short-term expert on something like this, because as I was like studying the uniform and things like that, I was like coming to a realization, okay, with each season of the show, they changed the costume.
They did.
So I had to like find the ideal version of the costume I wanted to do with the ideal reference for the head. And I want to say I had to do a little bit of back engineering, reverse engineering to put the proper hair that I wanted on with the uniform I wanted. And it was the hair from one season and the uniform from another.
Nice.
Right. So
nice.
Yeah, it definitely does hold I've got a lot of fond memories of drawing that one up for you.
Thank you. And although I've shown it online and I have tagged Linda Carter in it, I don't know if she's ever seen it or not, but I'll tell you one thing. If I ever get the chance to meet Linda Carter again, I will be bringing this with me so her own eyes can look at it, because I think that she would think that it is amazing, as I do too. And congratulations on making it in my fireproof box. So
honored.
Yeah. So that's one thing that I'll always, I mean, I've shown this on Fanboys before too. You will see it again in my channel too, but that I will always take this out because this is so special to me. And it even has the official J Hood sticker on the back too.
Yep. There you go.
The other thing that I pulled for a book show, does this handwriting look familiar?
Yep.
Yep. He says, yep. He should say yep, because it is Jamie's handwriting. You can never have too much bronze Legion of Superheroes. So this was a Legion of Superheroes that he AOK'd me, issue 237.
Very nice.
So since we did Superboy and the Legion tonight, I thought, well, that's a perfect book to also share as part of my book show. So thank you for sending this one my way. And I do agree with you. You can't have enough. So
yep.
It's fun.
I love that era of Legion.
Me too. Well, first of all, I really haven't found many Bronze Age comic books that I'm not like best friends with as soon as I meet. You know, I mean, it's one of those, oh, you're a Bronze Age comic book? Sit down next to me. Let's get acquainted. Because I know I'm going to enjoy the experience. But you've AOK'd me many things. I've also been a prize winner from your channel. Thank you for all of that and more, but more specifically your friendship. And it's been awesome having you on the show tonight.
Well, it's been fun for sure.
Yeah, start thinking about what you want to do for the future, because I would love to have you on again. I know you're just trying to get the wheels back a running again into the YouTube thing, but we'd definitely love to have you back on again.
Very cool. I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. So, do you know in your Batman book, I don't know if it's still close by, is one of the greatest stories Who Killed the Batman?
I can find that out.
Okay, I can tell you what issues it is if you need the issue numbers.
Let's see here. Do you know what era that would have been?
Yeah, it's going to be Bronze Age from 77.
Okay, what title and number?
Batman 291 through 294.
So it's not in the greatest Batman. Is Joker involved?
He is in one of the parts. He would be in the 294.
It does not look like that was included in either of these.
The reason that I mention that is my all-time favorite Batman story, and that is next week's retro review. One of our special guests that will be joining us is Super Russ. And so if you guys might remember, this is the 4-issue storyline where Batman has been killed and every villain is claiming responsibility for doing it because they want to be the villain who killed Batman. And so they have like a little trial, you know, and they'll give their testimony on why they were the one to kill Batman. And someone else will say, no, it isn't you because of this. And it's me because of this. And this is the 4-issue story arc we're going to do for our Batman Day 2025 celebration next Sunday on Fanboys Live in the Retro Review, the greatest DC comic show on YouTube. Make plans to join us then. Jamie, thank you again for joining us. Signature King, always a pleasure to spend time with you.
Yes, as well.
Yeah, and you guys have a great week.
Thanks, you too. It's been fun.
And to all that watched and joined us in the live chat, if you watched in the rewind as well, appreciate you. And the live chat especially appreciate you. Hope you have a happy, healthy, and safe week. And until next week when we get to hang out again, take care or kiss my green.